Young men are not socialized to have demands, to have expectations, to have boundaries. We're not socialized to do it.
You're going to see me talk about 3 short clips from Dr. Tiasan Johnson's stream from yesterday. And I want to be very careful with the stream because, to be quite honest, he did a lot of men a huge favor with this just incredibly masterful stream, because it's just so dense with knowledge that a lot of young men today are getting the opportunity via the internet and YouTube to get game that is so incredibly valuable for free. And there are 3 particular points in this stream that I think are really not only unique, but is really important for passport bros, and specifically Black men who are going to become passport bros or become expats, who are looking overseas to really evaluate about the way that they see their lives, because it's going to be an issue when it comes to them trying to find a mate and how they're going to essentially pick a wife. We are socialized to please, not be pleased.
Young men are not socialized to have demands, to have expectations, to have boundaries. We're not socialized to do it. We're socialized to try and adapt to these fantastical standards that women have, and we try to learn how to seduce them around those things or whatever, but we don't learn how to have standards of our own. And when men started to actually talk to each other about having standards of their own, that's when all hell broke loose. And that's when they started using language like a gender war.
One of the hardest evolutions for Black men who become expatriates or passport bros to make is to understand their baseline value. And because in the dating market that is so harsh and it tells average men that you have no value, it's very easy to have your calibrator off. And so if you grow up thinking that it's your job to please women on every single level, from you have to convince a woman to like you, to even when you're performing, intimacy, it's your job to please her. These are ideas that we grew up thinking that are normal. And so when you go into the dating market overseas, you're actually thinking, I have to go above and beyond to prove that I have value, when that's simply not the case for counterparts in other dating markets. If you begin your interaction with young ladies in a position of, I'm trying to prove to her that I'm worthy of her time, that comes off as just a different position from where a lot of men are, where you're going. And I think that that's something that for a lot of Black men in particular, we have to calibrate, because quite simply, walking in the room knowing that you are the catch or you're the person with value is actually going to be difficult, and it's a muscle that's probably atrophied for many men, because we don't really get the chance to do that when you're a non-6 foot, non-$700,000, non-super select guy. You're just told you're trash. We see her loving us as her doing us a favor.
The other thing they're taught is that their vaginas are invaluable, and that is the trump card. And that is the way you can attract a husband and keep a boyfriend. That's how you get him to seduce you, to propose to you, and even into his 70s and 80s, that's how you get him to do odd chores around the house.
Growing up in the West, we see the act of lovemaking as the woman doing the man a baseline favor. And if you carry that or extrapolate that out into just a greater relationship, the idea then becomes, well, she's allowing me to have regular relations with her, so I owe her X, Y, and Z. And not just that, but when we do have relations, it's my job to physically please her. And that's an idea that's not held everywhere around the world. As a matter of fact, the country I'm in now, they have all kinds of accoutrements for people wanting to do things on the side. And if you don't know about how Japan gets down, they have all kinds of ways for men and ladies as well to get their needs met. And the difference is when you look at lovemaking or relationships through this prism of this is right, this is wrong, and everything that you do has to fit in these nice little neat boxes, then it's very easy to say, you're wrong, you shouldn't have done that, and I want retribution, as opposed to, these are different norms because we view the relationships people have with each other differently than people do in the West. That is something that men coming from the West need to recalibrate. What is quote unquote right and wrong? Not needing her loving is a power on its own.
Y'all don't have any idea how many women I've had around me laughing about how they can still try to get their men to do things if they either offer him sex or withdraw it because he's not being a good boy. This bullshit is falling apart. And more men are refusing to participate in it. And it's starting to scare the hell out of a lot of people. And Umar speaks to that population that are afraid of what can happen when black men make choices without the supervision of their caretakers.
One of the biggest pitfalls, I believe, for many expats is, and specifically black expats, is when you come overseas with your very rigid ideals about sex and relations and how they should work, you think that I should be getting all of my needs met through one person, or else, I don't know, if you talk about church, you're going to go to hell, or you're going to do something that's incredibly unforgivable or whatever. And this is how we're acculturated. So this, of course, means that husbands are begging their wives for sex. And that's a very normal thing for men to deal with in the West. And I'm not saying that men should go out and fornicate on their wives. What I am saying is that when you go to other cultures, men have other ways of dealing with that. One of the ways men deal with that is just being in a mind frame that I don't need sex from you. And I've seen this from men that are in intimate relationships or even married for many years. And you could say those guys have options in terms of going other places and being discreet, or guys just saying, you know, I just don't need that from you. Or I'm in a relationship where I'm doing you a favor by being with you. And that kind of mindset is very new for many expats moving away from the West and specifically America, because again, we're taught that the woman is doing us a favor by being intimate with us, and we're going to beg her for opportunity to have access, as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm the guy, I got the goods, and you come to me. And if you don't come to me, it's all good because I'm going to be just fine. These are muscles we're going to have to work. And for a lot of guys, this mindset is going to be a very new one, but I urge you guys to do the work and work these atrophied muscles, because if you do it, you're going to have very fulfilling relationships overseas. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.